Welcome back. Or if you're new here, just welcome. I am Texas Beach Mom or Mama Robin, whichever you prefer. And I'm doing a Saturday night live stream tonight instead of a Friday night. I internet went off yesterday and it didn't come on to today. Like it was out. Everybody that has the internet service that I have, nobody had it. It was, from what I understand, when I called my internet provider, they said there's 3 towers in my area and 2 of them were out. So we were out for a while. But yes, I am here. I am back. Would have been here last night, but can't really do a live stream without internet. So we mostly on this channel, when I do my live streams, we talk about either the Menendez brothers or the mysterious lake drownings at Lady Bird Lake in Texas. There are some really good people doing some really good videos of the Menendez brothers. So if you're not getting enough coverage on that for your liking, or if I'm not covering enough, there's some great people. Just go search it up. Doing good videos. But we're going to stick with my normal. We're going to stick with my normal live stream tonight. We've been talking for a long time about Lady Bird Lake. If everybody remembers, there's been many men, like 18 of them now, or 18 mysterious drownings. 2 of them been women, the rest of them been men, most of them Hispanic, and most of them between their 20s and 30s. Okay, so I've been saying before in other videos that there's been a lot happening in Chicago. It's been in a lot of others. It's been in Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin. And here's the thing, because Lake Michigan is part of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Illinois, these bodies are being found in Lake Michigan. Some are from Chicago, some are from Michigan, and some are from Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. Some are from Lake Michigan, the state of Michigan, and some are from the state of Wisconsin. So we're going to go ahead and get into the ones tonight about the ones being pulled out of the Chicago waterways. 16 pulled from Chicago waterways since 2022. Well, hello, Lacey. Hello, Pickle. Welcome to the chat tonight. Oh, you're so funny. That's great. Oh, I don't have an employer. And you know what? I'm so glad that you liked that comment. That made you so happy. Made me happy, too. So, we're off to a good start. So we're going to get started on this. I'm going to flip the camera around, and we'll see. Hello. Hello, Megan. So we're going to flip this, and we're going to take a look and do some reading and maybe watch a couple of short videos. If it will do what it's supposed to. There it goes. Okay. 16 bodies pulled from Chicago waterways since 2022. As you can see in a small map, there is Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin, Lake Michigan. All right, so here are some of the people we have. We have a Joel Ordono, found March 2023 on the 2700 block of North Levette Street. If I mess up a name, I am sorry. I really am. I apologize. Let's see. We have a Noah Enos, found in June 2023, 1300 block of North Elston Avenue. Anthony Rucker, found. May have to move that up and down a little bit to get. Nope, that 11's going to stay in my way. Well, anyway, he was found. It looks like February 23rd, 30th. I don't know. We'll get to that. Richard Garcia, because his name will probably pop up again, so we'll get to that. Richard Garcia, found April 2023, found near Columbus Drive Bridge near Streeterville. And an unidentified woman found May 2022 on the 4100 block of South Oakenwald Avenue. So if we have anybody around here, have anybody in here from around the area, you can help me with that. If I've messed up, just let me know. I'll do my best to fix it. But here we are. There's, like I said, the map. So let's get into this. Alrighty. At least 16 bodies pulled from Chicago waterways since 2022, promoting serial killer fears. Not just a coincidence anymore. And if you've listened to any of the things I talk about when I talk about the ones in Austin, there's been 18, like I said, 2 have been women, 16 have been men. Most of them Mexican, Hispanic, or look up or have that kind of look. Most of them been in their mid 20s to mid 30s, and it looks like it's a very similar thing here. So if we scroll on down, here we are. Oops, I lost it again. I love when computers do their own thing. The remains of 10 men and 6 women have been pulled from the Chicago River and Lake Michigan since the beginning of last year, prompting fears of a serial killer terrorizing the community. So I didn't catch when this was written, so hold on real quick. Okay, this was published June 28th, 2023, so it is older, but it is still happening too. Patterns have been noticed as the bodies have piled up. 5 men's bodies recovered in the last 6 months. That's a lot. That's almost one a month. Too many coincidences, Tracy Walter, from a former CIA and FBI federal agent, told the Post by phone. Walter thinks a serial killer could be at work, pointing out the causes of accidental drowning, bodies being recovered from where the victims were reported missing, and short periods which multiple victims have been found. See, that is along almost completely identical to what's happening at Lady Bird Lake. In a case like this, there's so many similar patterns right across the board. It's just not a coincidence anymore, Walter said. And see, that's the way I feel about it in out here in Texas, the ones we're finding out here in Texas. Noah Enos' girlfriend, Nicole, speaking at a vigil in memory of her boyfriend. Shit, these people. The latest to... What the fuck just happened? It just kind of rolled on me, didn't it? The latest to be pulled from the water was 26-year-old Noah Enos, who's recovered June 17th, 5 days after he vanished following a rock concert at a local music hall. The salt shed, roughly a block from where he was found. Officials have yet to release the cause of manner of his death, and his family is working with private investigators to find justice for Noah. His father, Stephen Michael Enos, wrote a GoFundMe. Ads are popping up everywhere. Jiminy. Oh, would you please go away? Enos' girlfriend, Nicole, fought back tears during a vigil Friday as she said, "I know Noah wasn't the first one to go missing and be found in the river, and I sure hope as shit that he's the last. Unfortunately, I don't think he has been, and I don't think he will be. I think it will continue." Oh, here we go. Here's an entire list. This is so much better. When I do reports for the Austin one, it is so hard to find just a list like this. This is a nice list. So this is what we have. Noah Enos found in June 2023. Cause, manner pending. Unidentified woman found May 2023. Cause, manner unavailable. Richard Garcia found April 23rd. Cause, manner pending. Seamus Gray found April 2023. Cause, manner drowning, manner undetermined. Joel Ondurno found March 2023. Cause, drowning, manner undetermined. Anthony Rucker found February 2023. Cause, drowning, manner suicide. Um, Christoph Zupert, found December 2022, caused drowning manner accident. Peter Salvino, found December 2022, caused drowning manner accident. Are we seeing this? All these accidental deaths, people accidentally drowning. Uh, Hayward Brown, June 2022, caused drowning manner accident. Daniel Sotelo, found May 2022, caused drowning manner undetermined. And Natalie Brookson, found May 2022, cause manner undetermined. Karina Pena Alanis, found April 2022, cause drowning manner suicide. Unidentified woman, found April 2022, cause manner unavailable. Unidentified man, found April 22, cause manner unavailable. Kathleen Martin, found March 2022, cause drowning manner undetermined. The Chicago Police Department did not respond to multiple requests for comment regarding the state of the deaths. The Post has counted 16 bodies pulled out of the water in 2022 and in 2023 so far, although not all of them were suspicious. But here's the thing, and I've been saying this for all the Austin ones as well. There's too many of them for it to be not connected. Walter points to how serial killers tend to follow a pattern, and immersing a body into water would mean forensic evidence would be for the most part, non-existent, making it an ideal crime. At the end of 2022, look, wait a minute, let me back up. All right, so hold on. This is an FBI person saying that serial killers tend to follow a pattern on how immersing body in water would mean forensic evidence is going to be, for the most part, non-existent. Okay, so that makes sense to what we've been talking about for the Austin one, because if a serial killer is killing these people and then dumping in the water, it makes it harder to determine these deaths. I think they're linked. I think the Chicago ones, I think the Michigan ones, I think the Wisconsin ones, I think all of these are linked. I do. I think they're all linked. Among most suspicious cases, that is Richard Garcia, 46. Now, I will mention this real quick. We have had a few in Texas that were older, but most of them have been between 25 and 35, just like these here. But among the most suspicious cases is that of Richard Garcia, 46, who was recovered April 13th from the Chicago River near the Columbus Drive Bridge. His loved one said he was still wearing his FedEx uniform when his remains were located. So the man was still in his work uniform when his body was found. Sure, let me guess, he was in his uniform and he decided to take a swim. And not anybody find that weird, suspicious? Garcia had been reported missing from the Southside home in March. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office told the Post his cause and manner of death remained pending. Navy sailor Seamus Gray's remains were discovered 6 days later in Lake Michigan in the Chicago suburb of Wayukin. I probably butchered the hell out of that. The 21-year-old last seen leaving the local Ibiza bar weeks earlier. He drowned and showed no obvious signs of injuries, but his manner of death was undetermined, Fox 32 reported. Joel Antonio's body was pulled from the Chicago River March 16th after the 24-year-old disappeared in February when he was last seen in his home. He too died from drowning. The manner was undetermined, a spokesperson for the medical examiner's office said. Here's the body. The body of 31-year-old Karina Alanis was found. Although we don't think the serial killer is going after women. So I don't know on some of these. The The body of Kathleen Martin, 46, was recovered. Now, in some of these, they are saying they're suicide. So the women might be, but most of these men I don't think are. And like I said, it's just too coincidental. And Anthony Rucker's body was found on February 16th, also in the Chicago River, after the 23-year-old had been reported missing 3 days earlier. The ME's office ruled his death a suicide by drowning. Additional details were not immediately available. Walter noted that the added difficulty investigating the water's death when the forensic evidence is often non-existent. As I pointed that out earlier, she also pointed to what she called clusters of death, multiple instances of being reported at one time frame. See, and that's also a lot like the ones happening in Austin, Texas at Lady Bird Lake. There's been clusters. And they're usually within the same time of year, not just in the same time frame, but like January, February, March, or something like that. Clusters, she said, are more indicative of something more going on. In Chicago alone, 2 bodies were pulled from the local waters in April 2023. That 2 were recovered from waterways last December. 4 bodies were found at times just days apart. In April 2022 records show. If I could learn how to talk, I'd be fine. Let's see. The December cases involve Christoph Zulbert, 21, and 25-year-old Peter Salvino, whose bodies were found days apart. Both men's causes of death were found to have been drowning, with ethanol intoxication as a contributing factor. Their manners of death were ruled accidental. That sorry sounds funny to me. So, both men were seen in surveillance footage entering Lake Michigan alone. Okay, so then my next question would be, why are these men entering Lake Michigan or Lake Travis or Lady Bird Lake or any of these lakes? Why are they going down there alone? What's happening? Why are they being lured? They're most certainly not going swimming in February, December, January, February. If I know the water is cold here in Texas that time of year, the water in Lake Michigan is going to be so much colder. These people aren't just going, I'm wearing my FedEx uniform, but I'm going to go swimming in the icy waters. I mean, what the fucking why? They're just wandering off into the lake, huh? In the country, 5 bodies recovered from Austin's Lady Bird Lake so far this year, KXAN reported Tuesday, hours after the 4th was reported. Unfortunately, people do go to bars and they do make bad choices. And unfortunately, it has happened where people have accidentally fell into the water. Walter went on, but you don't see it on this scale. Thank goodness, finally somebody is speaking up and going, hey, people do drink, they do make bad choices, they do dumb shit, but not on this scale. Finally, and this is an retired or used to be CIA agent, FBI agent. Finally, some other people are going, this is not right. This is weird. But Joseph, oh my God, I'm gonna tear this name up. Gail Colon, a former New York City police officer turned professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, was skeptical of the serial killer speculation, but stressed the importance of a thorough investigation. Social media seems to fuel a lot of these conspiracy theories, but investigators have had to tune all that out and just do what they're supposed to do, he told the Post. I came from school where you treat every death as it's a homicide until proven otherwise, because you don't get a second chance to do it. Now, see, that is a valid point, and I think more of the investigators need to be taking it more seriously. Instead of just, as soon as the body comes out of the water, instead of saying, oh, well, it was an accidental drowning, well, shit, we have another accident. Instead of that happening, instead of saying, oh, it's accidental, let's just forget it, I think all of them, like he said, should be treated as a homicide until you prove it different. And I do believe that's it for this one. The next one I found, Lord, so many pop-ups. Comes from Newsweek. And I'm going to try to go up and see when. She's Newsweek Trust Project Manager. Alright, well, let's see if we can figure it out in a minute. This came from Newsweek. Like I said, last year, 11 bodies, mostly men in their 20s or 30s, were removed from the Chicago River and Lake Michigan's shoreline, according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, renewing interest in the theory about a serial killer or a group of serial killers targeting young men across the Midwest. Typically, they were last seen in their nightlife areas of the city. The cause of death is still unknown in most of these cases. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office told Newsweek 3 of those cases were ruled accidents and once was ruled suicide, and another 7 were ruled as undetermined. When a drowning is unwitnessed and evident of an accident, suicide, or homicide is not present. God, I cannot do this. What does it matter with my brain? When a drowning is unwitnessed and evidence of accident or suicide or homicide is not present, the manner of death is ruled undetermined. The office told Newsweek in a statement, if new evidence is presented, the office will review it and determine later if the ruling should be amended. But the mystery of the deaths and the sheer amount of bodies found have led many in Chicago to believe there is a serial killer or killers that could be to blame. And again, as I keep reiterating, that's the same thing going on here. And as we continue to cover these, we're going to cover more lakes, cities, states, whatever. As these come up, or as I can find more information, we will be covering them more. More recently, on Wednesday, another adult male body was found in the Chicago River in Bridgeport, according to Chicago Police Marine Unit. Before that, 2 ladies were discovered last December, including the 25-year-old Northwestern doctoral student, Peter Salvino, who had gone missing 3 days earlier walking home from a party. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office ruled the death an accidental drowning. And see, that again is another area where that's a lot like the Austin ones. You've got people going out to Rainy Street and they're partying and they're having a good time, and then they decide in the middle of the night, in middle of December, January, February, whatever, to go swimming? No, because I don't believe that. You can't convince me that these are accidents. You can't. There's too much happening here, and I'm not going to let this case go until it is solved. So I'll be working on this for a very long time. So then we hop into another article that is kind of linked, because it goes into the smiley face killer, because there's a lot of people that believe the smiley face killer or killers might be involved. So in 1997, 2 retired New York City detectives, Kevin Gannon and Anthony Durant, and criminal justice professor and gang expert Lee Gilberton, advanced the smiley face murder theory. This came after 3 college-age men were found dead in city rivers around the same time. They believe that the string of young men found dead in bodies of water across several Midwestern states from the late 1990s to the 2010s was the work of a serial killer group or a group of serial killers. In most cases, the official cause of death listed is an accidental drowning. So, and that's something else that we've talked about, that the smiley face killer might be the same person responsible for the ones here, for the ones in Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas, for the ones in Michigan, for the ones in Wisconsin. That might be a thing. The detectives have investigated the deaths of at least 45 college-age men who were found dead in the water in 11 states. Are you getting this? Anybody? 11 states have had this problem. 11 states in the early 2000s. And now Gannon told Newsweek that there are 68 cases in their database that they suspect may be connected. And I will bet you a chunk of those are the ones in Texas. Gannon told CNN in 2008 that he believed men were being drugged and abducted from bars, held possibly mentally or physically abused before being killed. Durant said the young men were popular, athletic, and good students. Now, if you, all the ones we've watched, brothers who have talked about it, their wives, girlfriends who have talked about this have all said the same thing. My brother, my husband, my boyfriend, my whatever was young, athletic, popular. Everybody liked him. Everybody thought he was a good guy. There's something going on. While he hasn't looked much into the recent bodies discovered in Chicago, Gannon said he believes they are connected. The fact you have so many of them in such a short period of time, hold on. I would have to say they are connected, he said. See? We're on to something here. He said the group is becoming more brazen because they know they can do whatever they want. Of course, they're picking it up. And why wouldn't they? No consequences of what they're doing. Gannon added that all the alleged killings have been going in Chicago since 1999. And see, some of the ones in Texas went further back, but they really didn't start counting them until the ones that were happening like in 2019, 2020, 2021. So it's very possible these have been going on over years. The name Smiley Face comes from graffiti depicted on depicting a smiley face along with 13 other distinct symbols found in the locations where they believe the killers dumped the bodies. The group is actually leaving symbols and letting you know, yes, this was us, come and catch us. So they're taunting. And I'm going to tell you, from everything I've seen and everything I've read and everything I've watched, the Austin police are doing next to nothing. They're seeing a body come up out of the water and they're going, oh, it's an accidental drowning. Oh, it's another accidental drowning. No matter what comes up, it's very rare that they say or do anything about it. So far, from what I can gather, based on these that we're talking about now, other areas I've heard about, and the ones in Texas, the ones in Texas so far, the police in Texas seem to be doing the least. I don't know if it's because Austin police is understaffed. I don't know if it's because Texas, I don't know. I honestly have no answer for that. But I do know this. I do know that the Austin police are doing very, very little. And almost every video I have showed, it's been talked about by family members or the people doing the investigating or whatever, that the Austin police seem to be very blasé. And I have watched a video once, and I can't remember. I can't find it again. I don't remember the name of it. But it was a guy, just like random guy, it was himself with a microphone, and he had a cameraman. And he went onto the streets, where the bars are at, down there on Rainy Street and 6th Street and all that. He went into the town with his cameraman and his microphone, and he was stopping people on the street. And he was asking people, do you think there's a serial killer in Austin? Or he was saying things like, have you heard about the drownings in Austin? And people were going, yeah, that's the Rainy Street Ripper, man, or whatever their response was. And eventually the police told him to stop asking those questions. They, walked up to him, got out of their car and pulled over, walked up to him and said, dude, you need to stop asking these questions. And he's like, I am just asking questions. And I'm asking questions of people that have agreed to be interviewed. I'm just interviewing people. I'm just asking questions. And the police said, well, you can't do that. And he's like, why not? And they didn't have a good answer for him. What they did eventually was arrest the guy with the microphone, and the cameraman bailed him out. Now, I would like to find that video again. I would love to watch that again, because you can actually watch the attitude that they have in Austin about it, like, it's just dead bodies. And they seem like they don't want anybody questioned about it. Is there a smiley face killer? In 2008, the FBI debunked the theory after receiving information about young college-age men who were found deceased in the rivers of the Midwest. The FBI has reviewed the information about the victims provided by two retired police detectives who have dubbed the incidents the smiley face murders, and interviewed an individual who provided information to the detectives. Robin, learn to read. Supervisory Special Agent Richard J. Kolko said in a statement at the time, "To date, we have not developed any evidence to support the links between the tragic deaths or any evidence sustaining the theories that these deaths are the work of serial killer or serial killers." Okay, he says that, even though other detectives have come forward and said, no, you're wrong. And that's the same attitude Austin's taking about it. Austin's taking the same exact attitude about it. They're like, well, there's nothing really going on. Yeah, we've pulled 18 bodies out of the water in the last 2 years, but no, that's normal. Bullshit, because that's not normal. There's nothing normal about that. That's not normal. And then it goes on talking about that. So there's one more article I think we're going to try to cover. And then after that, I think we're going to wrap it up. This is NBC5 Investigates. Chicago area drownings propel serial killer theories on social media. Here's what we uncovered. This was updated on, this was published on June 26, 2023. Updated on June. Oh, that don't make sense. Okay, this happened in June of 2023. So let's just let it at that. Okay. For these following Chicago area deaths closely, it seems suspicious that one after another people have appeared to be drowning at an alarmingly high rate. But could they actually be connected? Questions surrounding a seeming uptick in water-related deaths. Many of them are young men in the Chicago area have fueled another round of speculation about the deaths are not only connected, but they are the work of a serial killer. Theories surrounding the involvement of the so-called smiley face killer continues to consume social media channels following each report of a person found dead in a body of water, with TikTok channels and Reddit sleuths calling for more answers as Chicago police insist the deaths are not connected. Okay, apparently, as I just said, and I've been saying, apparently there's a lot of people in Chicago and these other states that are saying the same thing that Texas police are doing. No, it's not connected. Nothing to see here. It's just another dead body in the last 18 dead bodies in the last 2.5 years, or 11 or 16, or whichever area. They have different amounts, but they're all around the same time of year. They're all people that have been, they're not all. A majority of them have been people that have been out partying. They decided to go. Again, I keep making the same point because I am mind blown by the officers' attitudes. Nope, nothing to see here. It's just another dead person. Nothing to worry about. It's accidental drownings. No, they're not. They're not accidental. They're not. You cannot convince me. Continue to consume social media. Okay, fueling that speculation originally were reports of unsolicited taxi offers for free rides. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. Unsolicited taxi offers for free rides for patrons. You know what? Yeah, and that reminds me. You do see that of taxi cabs offering free rides around the holidays. And some of these are happening around the holidays. I've seen ads on TV going, such and such company is offering free rides for, free taxis to people partying so they get home safe. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I wonder, because I remember one time I was seeing that ad, and I happened to look at my husband at the time, and I remember saying, there's no such thing as a free ride. Something's not right somewhere. Now, in the back of my head, I wasn't thinking serial killer. I was probably thinking it's not really a free ride. There's strings attached to it. But I have seen that. The taxis offering free rides for patrons leaving bars, where drivers offer rides outside of rideshare apps, where formal taxi businesses were at cheaper costs, something consumer advocates and those in safety strongly recommend against doing. I've heard about the people getting the companies or places or people what are offering free rides home from bars. And I'm wondering if that's what's going on. Oh my Lord. All right, hold on. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Authorities, however, have said unsolicited rides and the drownings are unrelated. Bullshit. Maybe some of them are unrelated, but not all of them. This is just too much. One of the most recent incidents of the death of 26-year-old Noah Enos, who disappeared early June following a concert in popular Salt Shed music venue. His body was found less than a week later in the Chicago River. NBC Chicago has closely investigated cases stoking the serial killer theory, from deaths in December through this year as recently as Enos' disappearance, and uncovered some not yet reported updates. Oh my goodness. Okay, here's some more information on just the victims. Okay. Chris Subert, a 21-year-old Polish businessman, was reported missing on December 3rd after leaving a River North party. See, these people are going to parties or clubs or whatever. They're getting a free ride. That's been implied that they're getting a free ride, because I've seen people talk about on TV or whatever about these free rides, and I thought that was sketchy. Again, it never ever 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 crossed my mind that it was leading to a serial killer. However, with that being said, that might be the connection. I've seen so many possible connections about food trucks, the partying, the neighborhoods that they're in. But these people are wandering away from the party and wandering into a lake in December, January, February, whatever. Okay, so a 21-year-old Polish businessman reported missing December 3rd after leaving a River North party. Well, hello, Paula. How are you tonight? I hope you're well. I'm actually about ready to wrap this up, but you have come in on the tail end of me discussing, well, stemming from the Lady Bird Lake deaths in Texas, and now we're covering the ones that's been happening in Chicago, Illinois, and either most have been happening in Lake Michigan, because there's been like 16 of them in Chicago, there's been like 18 of them in Texas. A bunch of people are drowning, a bunch of men are drowning, suspiciously drowning, and the police aren't really looking into it. They're just going, la-di-da, it's just another dead body. Oh my Lord Jesus. Peter Salvino, a 25-year-old Northwestern doctoral student, disappeared on December 17th after leaving a party in Lincoln Park. Officials say Salvino's body was recovered from the Traverse Harbor off of the 2400 block of North Cannon Drive on December 20th. So again, so these guys are just leaving these parties and they're wandering off and getting into a lake? No, not in December, January, February. As I said earlier in this, if a lake here in Texas is too cold to go swimming in December, January, February, Lake Michigan, up there in Illinois, Michigan, and Wisconsin, in December, January, February, it's going to be crazy cold, if not almost kill you instantly, because the water's going to be that cold. So, like, there was 16 men that have died in the last 2.5 years in Texas. I think there's been somewhere between, depending on which article I find, there's been somewhere between 11 and 16 people in Chicago, Illinois. They're being found dead in Lake Michigan, or surrounding Chicago waterways. Don't tell me this is all. These aren't these are just all coincidences. It's bullshit. Excuse me. Anthony Rucker, 23, was reported missing on February 13th. February 13th in Lake Michigan. February 13th in Lake Michigan. So what? This man went swimming? The police recovered the body 3 days later on February 16th in the Chicago River near the 3700 block of South Pulaski Road. The medical examiner's office determined Rucker had taken his own life, and the primary cause of death was ruled as a drowning. Yeah, it it is. So yeah, so we've got all these men. Like I said, in Texas, I know it's been 16 of them in the last 2.5 years, and then a bunch kind of trickling out over the years. So there's been 16 in Texas. There's been, I think, 11 of them in Chicago, Illinois, in Lake Michigan. I'm mind blown. I am absolutely mind blown that the police are saying no, they're not related. And then, like I said, I know there's been some in the state of Michigan, some in the state of Wisconsin. I haven't gotten to them yet. That'll be coming up in the following live streams. But I've spent a lot of time covering the Texas ones. The medical examiner's office determined Rucker had taken his own life. We just covered that. If you or someone knows have suicidal thoughts, help is available by calling 988 or by visiting NAMI, N-A-M-I, Chicago here. There's Joel Ardono. Joel Ardono, 24, last seen in Logan Square residence on February 17th before his disappearance was reported by Chicago police. See, that's what I want. This is the main reason why I cover this case as much as I do. Because I've been trying to tell people that we've had so many deaths in Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas. We've had a lot in Chicago, Illinois, Lake Michigan. We've had a lot in Michigan. We've had some in Wisconsin. I know there's been some in New York. I think the article I was reading earlier said that there was 11 states so far. 11 states have had large groups of men drowning mysteriously over the last 2.5 years. And they're all supposedly accidental, and none of them are connected. Bullshit. They're definitely related. They're definitely related. And yet, none of the police in any of these cities, in any of these states, seem to have any care or concern. Nope. Just another dead body. We ain't worried about it. Don't worry about it, folks. Nothing going on here. Nearly a full month later, officers said Ardono's body was discovered in the Chicago River in the area of the 27 block of North Levitt. Chicago police say death investigation in the case have been closed, and the death has been classified as non-criminal. WTF? And why? Why would you have all these people dying and then go, no, it's all men. It's all men between 25 and 30. Or, I can't say all men. That's not a fair thing. It's mostly men. Most of them between the ages of 25 and 35. Most of them are Hispanic, or they have a Hispanic look to them. Because it's not like the killer's going, sir, are you Hispanic? Oh, you are not. Okay, you're free to go. Or, sir, are you Hispanic? You are. Well, then you must die tonight. And then this article I'm just reading earlier said that they suspect Lawan, or that they actually suspect that that it's these. There's been ads all across different cities saying, "Oh, we'll give you a free ride home on New Year's Eve," or whatever the case may be. So these people are getting these free rides from these cabs, and there's a theory that these places, whoever's offering these free rides, offering these free rides, and these people are coming up dead after their free ride. So that leads to more suspicion of serial killers in Texas, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, New York, and probably what, 5 or 6 more states. They must actually know why, otherwise would they be so certain they are not related? Well, see, that's a theory I've kicked around originally before I knew it was happening in Texas. I mean, before I knew it was happening in other states, when I just knew about the Lady Bird Lake in Austin, there was a theory, in Texas at least, that the police were actually involved in these deaths. But now that they're happening, or now that I'm finding out they're happening in other states, same type of men, same age group, same whatever happening in other states, they've got to be related. You can't have anywhere from, we'll say, 15 to 20 men dying in a 2.5 year time span, all from drowning, all accidental. They're all, or most of them are men in their 20s and 30s. Most of them are Hispanic or look Hispanic. Are you shitting me? No, this is not accidental anymore. Something is happening. Somebody is doing it. The theories are that they're getting these free rides from these places they're not taxi cab companies, they're not Ubers, they're not Lyft. They're just a group of concerned citizens offering free rides. And these people are taking them, and that's how they're ending up dying. I've said it throughout this video, that would sound suspicious to me anyway. I don't know, man. Seamus Gray, 21-year-old Navy service member Seamus Gray first disappeared after he was seen leaving, I'm going to fuck this up, Waukegan bar on March 18th. Yeah, they do have their organs. Matter of fact, not only do they have their organs, but most of them are showing up without any marks on their body at all. Like, had they fallen, had they been sick, had they fallen and hit their head, or fell into the water if they hit their head or something. Now, there's been a few that's had marks. There has been a few that have had weird marks that didn't make sense. They didn't line up with an accidental drowning. But most of them are like, oops, yeah, there's no marks on him. He must have just fell into the water. And in almost every single one of these instances, it's people that, like I said, are men. They're in that age group. They look a certain way. They're coming up missing in December, January, February, and maybe March. Most of them have left either a party or a club. Most of them are taking a taxi ride home, Uber, a taxi, or whatever. And like I said, there's some theories now that there's these free cabs, because I've seen the ads for free cabs. I've seen them. I've seen the ads. I thought they were suspicious then. That's just another theory, but it all makes sense. Like, if you go back and you look at Lady Bird Lake and their deaths, and you look at the ones I'm talking about now in Chicago, and we're going to be covering Michigan, Wisconsin, New York, and I think there's some in Nashville. Now, Nashville, Tennessee. So if you go back and look at all these, most of them have been in that age group. Most have been male. Most have been partying. Most have been taking a cab. Some of them have been walking away. All of them have had their organs. Most of them have not even been tested for drugs. But the theory is that they are being drugged, either before they get in an Uber, like at the bar, or before they get into the cab, or maybe in the cab. There's a theory they're being killed. There's a theory that they're being dumped into these lakes and these rivers or whatever. Actually, they're lakes that feed into rivers, or rivers that feed into lakes, whatever. But they're big lakes, like Michigan is a big lake. Let's see, Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas is a pretty good sized lake. Yeah, they have their organs. And most of them don't have any weird bruising, but they also are just saying, well, it's a dead body. We're not going to test it for drugs or anything. We're just going to assume they were drunk and they fell in. Jesus Christ, what do you need to do? Seriously, people. I mean, let's just think about this. If you're, and I've said this, I don't know how many of these, Paula, that you've caught up with or watched later, but let's just stop for a minute. And I've said this every time we get to talking about it. So if you heard it before and you don't want to hear anymore, I'm sorry, I apologize, because I'm not sure of the people watching these, how far they've watched them, what they've seen. But let's stop and think about it. Let's be realistic. You're a young man. You're 28 years old. You're out partying, you're drinking. Then you're ending up in a lake. Now, most men, if you're going to go to a lake and party, if you're going to the lake to party, you are with your friends. Most men are not out partying at a lake by themselves. They're with their friends. If you get drunk and you fall into the lake, your friends, 1, 2, 7 of them, somebody is going to go try to get you out. They're going to call for help unless they just don't see you. But I find that really hard to believe that these men are out partying at the lake in the middle of the night in the dead of winter. And most of these people are found. I know, that's another thing. Most of these men are described as athletic, having an athletic build. If you go back, even in your own time, or if you go look at my old videos or whatever, if you go back and look at any of these, especially the ones in Texas, most of these are young college students. They're men in their 24, 25. They've got athletic builds. They play sports. They, are out partying with their friends. And then they get separated from the group. And they end up in Lady Bird Lake. So these men are being overpowered somehow. There are theories that some of these men are being led astray. Because at most of these lakes they're dying in, they're dark. There's no lights. They're off a trail. So there are some theories that men are being solicited by either other men or by women. Come on back over here, meet me at this spot by the lake, and we'll have some fun. So there's theories that they're being solicited by either men or women for extracurricular activities. And that's possible. That is possible. There's theories that, like I said, the bars themselves, someone that working the bars are drugging the people, and then they're leaving staggering. Because one of the reports that strikes me the hardest was about a young man here in Texas that only had one drink. Like, he went into a bar, didn't have anything to drink. He went into the second bar, only had one drink because receipts were pulled up. He only had one drink, and he's being seen on camera, and he's walking messed up. He's walking like he's had several drinks and not just one. And these are college students that, I'm not trying to cram everybody into a stereotype, but these are college students that are used to going out on the weekends. They're used to partying. They're used to drinking. And they're getting this messed up on one drink? Bullshit. Bullshit. I just don't buy it. And like I said, I've learned that it's not just Texas. It's Chicago, Illinois. It's various states. I think the article I read previous was 11 states. 11 states have been reporting this. And it's large groups of men. And they're happening around the same time of year, every year. There is something not right. And like you said, these men are strong at that age. They're very strong. These are men that are capable of fighting back. But if they've been drugged previous, they may not be capable of fighting back. This could be a really strong drug. It could be the free rides. It could be the there's also been mentioned, and another theory, and I realize there's a lot of theories going on because nobody knows what's happening. But there's been another theory. Almost every single one of these men, almost every single one, not every single, but a lot of them, have visited a food truck while they were out partying. So there's theories about somebody running a food truck and doing it. There's theories, like I said, of bartenders, cab drivers. There's so many theories of different people doing it and different types of theories because nobody has any answers. And nobody has any answers because none of them are really getting investigated. The local police in almost every single one of these instances are going, nope, it's an accidental drowning. Bullshit, I just don't buy it. I'm having a hard time with that one. But let's go back because I'm getting stressed out on this alone. According to authorities, Gray was seen around 1:35 a.m. on March 18th leaving Ibiza nightclub located at 17 North Genesee Street in Waukegan. And I've messed that up and I'm sorry. To anybody from the area, I'm sorry. About 40 miles north of Chicago. Gray's disappearance was the first noted when he didn't report back to the naval station, Great Lakes Base, at his scheduled 2 a.m. time, officials said. Security footage of him outside the club shows Gray just before 2 a.m. standing and talking to a group of people. At one point in the video, Gray is seen on the ground. Wait a minute, what? What? At another point, someone in the group appears to grab the wallet from Gray's pocket, but throws it back at him. Later in the video, Gray is seen taking off down a nearby alley. In the press conference, Ibiza manager Adrian Hernandez said that Gray entered the nightclub twice early Saturday morning, but was ultimately escorted out for being too intoxicated. But, okay, if these men are being drugged, then it's going to look like they are just intoxicated and they may not be drinking very much. But a lot of these bodies are not being checked for drugs. They're going, oh, they were drunk, they passed out in the lake. How the fuck did they get to the lake? In a lot of these cases, you've got to walk blocks, like in Texas, I know for a fact, you've got to walk blocks away towards the trails. Then you got to walk like a half mile down the trails to get to the part where it's the lake. Then you got to go over brush and trees and bushes and through shit to get to the lake. It's not like it's just an open area where you just walk into it. You've got to go through a lot. And at most of these lakes and most of these points where these bodies have been found, there's no security cameras, no lights, no fences, no nothing. So yeah, that makes sense, suspicious on their part. But most people aren't just going to stagger down to a lake on their own for no reason in the middle of December. It's not like these people are skinny dipping. What, so they're out rolling with their homies and they decided to hop into the lake? Bullshit. Let's see. Being intoxicated and mysterious disappearance led to large search efforts from multiple departments, and authorities struggled to find the answers in the case. Gray's body was found on April 19th, so his happened later in the year. But that would still, Lake Michigan in early to mid-April would still be very, 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 very cold. So it's not very likely this person decided to go swimming. When a ComEd workers doing routine work near the harbor said they saw the body in Lake Michigan water. Or according to a spokesperson for the Lake County Coroner's Office, no significant injuries were found on Gray's body, and that toxicology testing discovered blood alcohol concentration of 0.14, well over the legal limit for driving. But below, it was well over the legal driving limit, but below what medical professionals consider to be life-threatening. So it wasn't, he was too intoxicated to drive, but not intoxicated enough to be life-threatening. And it doesn't have to be necessarily alcohol. I've said before, people can put things in drinks of an alcoholic drink you're drinking and make you look, now they did do a toxicology, but I have seen, at least in the Texas reports, where they're doing a basic toxicology, whatever the fucking word is. They're doing a basic one, but they're not looking for very specific drugs, like I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. YouTube to hell with it. Like the date rape drugs and stuff. Why aren't you all looking for drugs? Why aren't you all looking for these? Okay, so they found it to be over the legal for driving, but not enough to make him dangerous. Or to make it dangerous for him. A preliminary autopsy determined Gray's cause of death to be death by drowning. Based on overall police, NCIS, and coroner's investigation, the manner of death is undetermined. Bullshit. Bullshit. There's definitely something happening. And it is wrong that they aren't. No, it is incredibly wrong. There are so many families, and again, most of my experience comes from Lady Bird Lake in Texas. I'm in Texas, and I didn't find out about these other ones until a while back, until about 6, 7 months ago, I think. Might have been a little longer back, but still, this case started with Lady Bird Lake for me because I knew about those. They're not doing anymore. They're not. I know for a fact here in Texas they're not. I know for a fact here in Texas they're seeing a dead body, looked like it drowned. They're going, yeah, it's an accidental drowning. They're not even investigating. There are so many families that have come forward and they want answers for their sons or their brother or boyfriend or whatever, their husband. They want answers for these men and nobody's answering their questions. And everybody in the Austin Police Department are going, nope, it was an accident. I'm telling you, these are not accidents. And now that I know it's happening in other states and it's the same type of men, around the same age, same partying places, the same type of bars, it's something going on. I'm sorry. And they need to do more. They need to do more because these families are upset. They've lost a family member and they're upset and they have every right to be. Now, I will admit this is in June, which would be warmer weather, but I can't imagine Lake Michigan in the middle of the night, even in June, being that warm. Because I'm trying to figure out, is it possible that some of these people are just going swimming in the middle of the night? It doesn't make sense. I wouldn't go swimming in the middle of the night. I mean, I'm a decent swimmer, but I wouldn't go swimming in the middle of the night for no reason. Whether it was June, January, whatever. Now, men do think about it differently than women. I get that. Men don't typically think they're in danger, whereas women automatically assume, or some women automatically assume that they are in danger because they are women. Men don't tend to think the same way. Men don't think, I'm a man, that's going to happen. That's going to happen to me. And that is probably where a small part of the problem lies. But even if that is where the small part of the problem lies, does not make it their fault. I think we need to understand that this can happen to men, just like it can women, obviously. And these men need to be more aware of what's going on with other men in other areas so that maybe and I know a lot of them, especially when they're drinking, oh, I'm a man, I'm 6 foot whatever, and I bench press and do whatever. I can't be taken down, but you can be. If somebody puts something in your drink, you can be taken down. Easily. Sorry, you can be. On June 12th, Noah Enos went to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard concert at the Chicago Salt Shed with a coworker. His girlfriend, Nicole, told NBC Chicago that Enos texted her and sent her messages on Snapchat throughout the night, including pictures inside the venue. So this guy was communicating with his girlfriend through Snapchat as the evening continued. She said her last message from Noah was around 9 p.m. the evening. His phone died about an hour later. They did review some footage and saw him and his coworker walking around the venue around 9:30. The show ended at 10, so there's a 30-minute gap that they're looking to see if maybe he would have gone into the venue. So there he was. Enos' co-worker told her that the two got separated as the show was ending, and that's something else. And a lot of these cases, they've been out with friends, and then they're getting separated from their friends. They're getting separated somehow, and they're ending up alone, and then that's when they're disappearing. On June 17th, his body was found in the Chicago River. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office said the body was pulled from the river near the 1300 block of North Elston Avenue. So, other cases, in addition to the above deaths, the body was found in the Chicago River at City Forest Preserve on April 11th. The Forest Preserve Cook County Police said it was assisting Chicago Police Department missing person investigation, adding officers and dogs to search along the North Branch Trail of Caldwell Woods at 6767 North Milwaukee Avenue. The search continued into the evening before authorities found a body was found in the water of the North Branch of the Chicago River. So these are just kind of popping up everywhere. They're kind of just popping up. It's all over Chicago, it's Texas. So I think what I'm going to do, because I've pretty much covered everything I have found thus far, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Now that I'm delving into other cities, other states, and other lakes, this is getting more interesting because we're seeing more and more of a pattern of the same type of people disappearing and then mysteriously drowning. So we're going to wrap it up tonight. I've just been backwards all week. Like, with my daughter leaving on Monday instead of Sunday, it threw me off. Wednesday was a mess for me. Didn't have any internet yesterday. But I think next Friday, if I can find more information on Chicago, we'll cover more of Chicago. If not, we'll move on to another state. But I do think that we are going to wrap this up tonight. We'll get into, like I said, more Chicago next week, if not another state. If something new happens in Texas, of course, we'll cover that instead. But as always, I want everybody to take care. Can't wait for more. Be careful. Good to see you, Mom. It's nice seeing you too, and you have a good night. Everybody take care. Look out for each other. Make good decisions. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary. Look out for each other. It's a rough world out there. And look after our men. Apparently there's something happening. So I'll see you all next Friday. More mysterious drownings.